Alright, hope everybody's had a great weekend. So I do have another bunch of decks for Deck Sage, but in the meantime, I wanted to go through, and we did have, 2 weeks ago, we had the Materia Cup in Germany. And I haven't gone over these deck lists yet. I kind of wanted to go through. It's still really interesting to see these lists because we haven't seen um, very much of this set play out. So I know a lot of people that are going to the U.S. Nationals or Australian Nationals. I don't know if EU is 2-deck as well, but it's really interesting because we need to know a lot of what these decks do and how good they are, because there's a lot of decks people are going to be playing at these events. So the winning deck was Ice Lightning. Ice Lightning, I think it's very funny how Ice Lightning now runs 25, 30 some 7 characters in it. So let's take a look here. We have the full 3 Zeromus, the 2 Vincent, the 1 copy of Angeal. Seen him show up a little bit. Cloud is a soldier, and that might be it. 5 soldiers. Restrictor as well. So if you have Restrictor, then this just says break a forward on entry. And the 3000 power buff is actually like quite a bit. It's a little situational. I think it might be a little too cute for my taste, but it's not a bad card at all. Especially not for a Pictologic or rare. Alcid, the full 3 Alcid. We're seeing a lot of Ice Lightning players kind of skimp on this card. I think the argument is that he's win more, but to me, I think win more in a deck that needs to win quick, that winning more for that short period of time actually does matter. I really like seeing the 3 Alcid. The full 3 Shantoto, not okay. I don't see any crystal generation, so it's just for the recovery. It's okay. The 1 of X-Death, the triple Weiss, the triple Sephiroth, triple Lightning, the Opus 18 stuff coming in there. We got 3 Rufus with no Root or Reno. I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the future, where people are essentially using Rufus as just an engine, like basically Physalis at home, but this is Physalis that can be played off of the Alcid. I actually really like that. I think it's a really neat innovation to say, like, well, we need to be able to do this, so we're going to. I think the only thing I don't like is we only have 1 member of the Turks as our Cisne. I would like to see a second Cisne. That way we can potentially like get it into the break zone to use, so Rufus can draw us a card if our opponent discards their entire hand. Because like just dulling and freezing a forward on attack, that's nothing special. A lot of cards do that, and if your opponent decides to dump their hand to play around the discard, then being able to sort of draw 2 CP from your break zone actually is kind of, it's relevant at that point, right? So maybe like the second Cisne for that would be actually like a nice touch. The full 3 Astinians, this is probably a lot nicer with the Alcid, but also just a great way to push for lethal. 2 Ixians to handle our Rydia matchup, the 2 Ramus to go a little faster, and 2 Odins. I've actually become a bigger fan of the 2 CP Odin that like breaks a 4 cost if you take an point of damage, otherwise it breaks a 2. I do understand that like decks want EXs, and this deck does have a decent number of them. And this is like the least offensive of the EX Odins. Like the other option is the 7-drop that breaks anything, but you'll never cast the 7-drop. You could conceivably cast this one if you wanted to. So I think this is like defensible. 2 Reeve, 1 Kate Sith to go with our 2 Vincents as well. The Unalescas to force the discard. We have Restrictor Nero and President Shinra Cisne. I kind of feel like I'd rather see the President Shinra to 2 here, if we're not, especially if we're only going to run the 1 Cisne. Like the only target Shinra can get is the 1 other Cisne. Whereas if we went for the 3 Reeve, Reeve has 2 valid targets. I feel like that should be flipped. Regardless, this looks like a pretty standard, solid Ice Lightning list. I don't think there's much to complain about. Mono Water. This is I guess, basically a classic Mono Water summon control list. So we're still on the Geomancers. We're on 2 Alchemists, not on the full 3. The one of Artemisian. We're still on 3 full Yunas. Wow. Do we really get that much value out of Yuna? Like, I get that, like, we really want it, but, like, this Leviathan doesn't get us anything. The 3 Kukulanes don't get anything off it. It's just Leviathan, Leviathan. I wonder if that should be at 2 and we go to 3 Alchemist instead. Like, don't get me wrong. This Yuna is fantastic, but if we cast 3 summons over the course of the game, she saves us 3 CP, right? I mean, I guess maybe you could argue that, like, she saves us a discard from hand, at which point she could save 2 CP. But, like, I don't know that the value proposition is that much higher versus the speed at which this Alchemist can ramp us. And then we've got the full 3/3 Blue Worm, Tomberry, 2 Tros, and the 1 Echidna. This was, I think, the only difference from here in the classic list that used to run Sildra was they used to be on like 2 Tomberry. The summon line, a lot more simplified. Not a lot of draw in the summons. No like Moogles or Poo-Poos. Maybe I guess with the Sildragon it's a little harder to justify that because we need room for... We can't just run 8 backups anymore. I'd like to see 3 Loporrits find their way into the backups as well. Maybe over the Geomancers. Like, I get the idea with the Geomancers, but to me Loporrit is a 1 CP backup that allows us to dig for whatever we want to and fill our break zone for the Lena Leviathan. For our forwards, we've got 2 Tidus, 3 Lightning, 2 Mist. This is our first time I've seen her in a topping list. I've not been impressed with Mist. The timing of when the actual warp counter is removed doesn't do that much. I guess like she just can be a 2 CP draw a card. But like the warp time is so long on this card, and there's really not a lot of value other than knowing you're going to get an EX burst next turn. Oh, we're on this Alfino. I thought it was the 4-drop Alfino. I guess that's a decent way of kind of punishing aggro. I like that. That's cute. 3 Ash, 3 Leviathan. This looks fine. It's pretty standard. I think I'd like to see the Mist change out for like a pair of Fiends to like handle other Rydia decks. Or like even just like 1 copy of the Fiend and then switch to like the Marrowwave that searches the forwards for when it's good. But this is going to do kind of what Mono Water has done, which is set up the Conga line, Lena Leviathan, win the game. I do think this is probably a little weaker than it was last set, but I think that with Wind just disappearing from the meta, it might just be a good thing in general. We got a mono fire list here. Wow, 3 Marsh. We haven't seen him in... I haven't seen this guy since like the Dallas re-raise. I mean, it's a good card. 4 CP EX, just dig 5 for the next, like the best fire character in there. Seeing a lot of Phoenix showing up as well. No Ace is a little surprising. 2 copies of Kadaj. I mean, Kadaj is always like stock standard good. Makes sense. The 3 Rain. Our backups are... Wow, this is kind of wild. So, no Geomancer. We're just kind of not on that at all. We're running Lark. I don't like in decks that are attempting to build ramp backups just because you don't get the benefit of Lark as a backup. It is really undercosted removal, but... VV Meath. Okay. We're on this Ace is why. You can run like Red 13 in that slot, I think. If you wanted to run like Ace forward. I think like Ace forward with the Goblins. Oh, we're on... What the heck? That was not the Goblin I expected that to be. So we're using this as, like, get this with this Goblin. This gives us the ability to do... I am unconvinced here. I think Haste Goblin is very, very good. Ifrit, Brynhildr. We have the Princess Goblin for the Goblin. That makes sense. The Zondi. Yeah, I would swap the Ace for a Red 13 and then try, like, go down a Kadaj. and down like one more card, get a playset of Ace in there, just because like Ace is so unbelievably good if you're able to play him. Man, some of these cards I don't even know. Have not seen this Sid ever. We're on just like, it's what I call the character standard unit backup line, where you run just like a gazillion one of backups that all do similar things, with the idea being that you just kind of play whatever you draw and you just don't really care. Yeah, this looks fine. Again, I would like change the Lark out. I might look for Geomancer just because I like the consistency and ability to dig through my deck. But I wouldn't complain at this list. This looks mostly solid. Second modifier list. This one is on the Ace. We're down to just one copy of the Lua. That's interesting. Two of this Warrior of Light. I love this card. This card is so good. Three Terra. We're on 10 summons. Okay. Two Squall, two Rain, three of the Demons. So it's like Demon Shinryu Ace Control. This is on Hasty Goblin, which Hasty Goblin with Ace is really, really nice. Jin as well. This looks really good. I like this. We're on Miyu with... Whoa! 4 CP Mutsuki spotted. I mean, we have Carla if we want the faster backup scaling. We do always have this. But this scares me a little. We're not on Geomancer because we're afraid of hitting the Shinryu. I just realized that. So that's why we're on Machinist, which kind of functions as Geomancer effectively. I can get behind that. I feel like at this point we should just be on the Fire of the cycle where they're free with 3 backups, though, right? We also need 2 Kuchaspel. We are not okay with just 1 Kuchaspel right now. I think the game has progressed to the point where we want multiple Kuchaspels, especially in mono Fire. This deck has exactly 1 out to Rydia, which is Shinryu special, and that's just not where we want to be, like, at all. I like this list a little better personally. Like I said, there's a couple changes I would make. 4 CP Mutsuki just scares me. Like, I get the idea if you can kind of keep pinging things off, you can keep using her. But I don't see that happening often enough. We're rounding up by 1,000 matters to the point where I don't want to run a faster backup. Machinist is fine. I would run the other standard unit backup. I would find room for the second Kuchaspel. Maybe cut one of the Moody's or something. But yeah, that looks really solid. 20 walls. This is just rainbow good stuff. We're using Soiree to set our backups alongside Thornton, Tyro, and Shantoto. So the thing that scares me on this is we have to get our backups down, and we have to cast 2 of Thornton, Tyro, or Shantoto just about to get there. I don't really trust Amber, Lexa, Elvis to all show up. Like I'm saying, like if you get 2 of those, you need 2 of these 2 to get there. And that scares me a lot. We're really relying on some high cost backups. We're really vulnerable to Mandragora, we're vulnerable to Fenrir, we're vulnerable to Heka. It's kind of why I've never loved the this engine for getting to the backup line. So our main color is Earth, and our secondary looks to be kind of anything. Yeah. Okay, so we're on Cecil for Wall. I love this combo. This goes really, really well together. Like as the anti-aggro tool, you can go Cecil for Wall, and it's very hard for your opponent to deal with it. The one of Galif, we have the Arc. I'd like to see the extra Bosches just for consistency's sake. Like go down on the Zidanes to 2, so we can get these Bosches out early and often. Guarantee our Amber, guarantee our Thornton or Tyros. I think we just go a lot further with that. 3 Mist, 2 Amats. And 3 6 CP Levy. We want water for our Thornton, but we're not committing to forwards that aren't the Fiend. I feel like there's a better thing. Like this gets back Warrior of Light, but I don't know that we're gonna have a water forward in the break zone consistently enough for Leviathan. We've got the two Unes as well. I would look at something else in this slot, like 3 more water cards, like bump the Unes to 3. Like what else would go hard here? Just like generic water forwards, like an Alfino would be really nice, I think. Sort by recent. Even something like the Porum to cycle here would actually feel pretty solid. Kind of dig through our deck to get to our backups, get set up faster. The Garnets would go pretty hard in this deck to help us with our color fixing. I love Ceramobius still. I feel like there's maybe more we can be doing with our water. Firion as well. Firion I think still is a very big threat. Losing the EX burst with all of those, maybe that's like the big reason, but I don't want to play a card I don't want to cast just because it has a really, really good EX burst, right? And that's a card that we just don't have an alternate mode on that I really like. So, like, it's a 2-for-1 EX. Like, I would run Remora over it in this list just because I don't want to rely on that as our... Like, we have to get a water forward in the break zone for that card to be good. And I don't know that that's going to always be there. Yeah. No, I think that should be something else. All in all, looks like a pretty normal rainbow list with all of the benefits and downsides therein. Those have kind of fallen out of favor, but I think they're still good. Ooh, this is Cloud Pod. Yeah, this is Cloud Pod. So we have 10 fire cards. Zach Fina, we're talking about that list. Yep. Cecil, that's actually really nice. Tag an Aerith out into Cecil, play another Aerith from hand, keep going. I like that. I haven't seen Cecil in these before. That's a nice one. 3 Elfie, 3 ZG, or GJ, 3 Jesse, 2 Rems, the 1 Polk, so the Tyros, Shantotos, Zura. Looks pretty good to me. I know space in these lists are really tight. So, like, with the pretty tight spacing, we made this look pretty solid. Like, maybe a different Tifa is, like, the only thing I can think of that I would change. Or, like, remove these Tifas for something else. But it's nice to have another target that Cloud can tag into your Aerith to get your whole chain going again. So, like a Rosa would go pretty hard here, like 1 copy of it. So we could continue with our Cloud shenanigans if we needed to. But no, this looks fantastic. So this is a list that I've actually looked at and kind of been doing a little bit of thinking myself. I really think this list is interesting. So this is Ice Water 6. So you'll notice we're on 33 6 cards, so we were pretty safely able to run 3 CP Lock and 3 CP Strago. We have the Andorias for the Andoria Lock combo. We have Noctis. It's very possible that Andoria Lock says draw 2 cards or 3 cards for a party attack. Add that in with like Realm Unicorn is busted in combination, or Realm Leviathan, or Realm Shiva. This deck can just draw 5 cards in a turn, just out of nowhere. This deck is very, like, has no outs to a Fel Thanos. Like, it has to party attack and just try to survive. And if you get a 4-party lock off, you can do it, but it's going to be a lot slower than some lists would be. So that scares me. Calbrena shows up for the first time here. I like the text on the Mask more than the Calbrena, but Calbrena is really cool, and like protecting our Lock or Noctis, all those cards is very relevant here. Also, just going to see 3CP Opus 12 Una showing up. Really, really cool card. Pairs very well with the party attack and gives this deck some very needed removal. All it has for removal other than that is like the Noctis Ping, Unicorn Leviathan, and then like the Lock Party. I guess like Umaro as well, but it's going to be very light on removal other than that. Yeah, this list is super cool. Very, very excited to see that one doing well. Earth Water by A.T. Walker. Not a Rydia list. This is essentially 5CP Yuna trying to draw our whole deck. We have the 2 Shinryus, the 2 Unes. Ignis is actually a card I didn't expect to see in this. I guess I don't mind that. Extra break, spoof a higher forward count. A little low on backups, I'd be afraid with that, but Galef, Rosa, all the old staples of Earth Water are here. We're on the Fenrir. We have the Sarah Mobius and the Sophie for it. Fantastic. First time seeing Unicorn show up outside of 6, but it makes sense. Like the modalness of it pairs very well with Yuna. Being able to either have a draw 2 spell or a removal spell that also draws with Yuna is really nice. I don't think we have any category 6 characters at all to pair with it. A little surprised to see like not a place that like poo-poo or Moogle to go with the Yuna as well. Really like how those let you kind of filter through your deck as quickly as you want. This Kolka, that's an interesting one. I guess our top end is actually pretty big. Yeah, we've got some beefy bodies. I don't hate that here. Kryl. Yeah, this list looks really cool. So this is Dragoons. Featuring 44 Dragoons and 3 Scions. So our non-Dragoons are Alice and Astinian, and everything else is maxed out. I like running the Kane backup. I think this is the right one to do. I think being able to back attack, so you can go Alice on curve on turn. Your first turn is really cool. I think Ricard is fantastic as well. We've got lots, two sets of standard units, so 15 backups. Is kind of like running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different names. That's really, really good. It's funny to see this Opus 18 Dragoon starting to show up a lot of places. The damage 3 becoming a 2CP 8K with haste is kind of pretty good, actually. That's a little scary. And this does kind of what Dragoons is always going to do, which is get the big booty Dragoon on the field, Freya wipe the field, run in with a bunch of hasty forwards, and kind of win the game on the spot. You get so much card advantage off of Alice that what would otherwise be kind of bad cards like this 5CP Dragoon, the Opus 18 2CP Dragoon, the Opus 12 Common Dragoon, all these cards get a lot better when you're drawing 3 cards a turn thanks to Alice. So this is Mono Earth Mira, but we're going with these Miras. Okay. So this is like the same as the Leo deck that we saw off of Berkeley at the Materia Cup in Portland. So Antlion 4. So we're kind of trying to get a 17 lands, lots of breakable, or 17 backups, lots of breakable backups. So we can kind of meet the backup fall condition on Antlion. That's really cool. I think this card is super, super underrated. If you can get this condition off every turn, it is so over the top. Aramin is really good. Puma Mira, that seems really nice. I kind of would like to see the Bosch's in here to compare with the Leo. Like, we have the Shantotos. No Tyros, but I guess that makes a bit of sense. I don't know how consistently we're going to get the Leo on the field. They cast Warrior of Light, but Mont can actually pull it out of the break zone as well. And because we're going to stack so many random monsters on the field, maybe Mont is actually pretty good here. Zombie is a really, really good card, held back only by the quality of the one-drop forwards. So having two good one-drops makes a lot of sense. Yeah, these lists are really interesting. Genova Synthesis, again, is a very good card as long as we can scale out. We're on the 17 backup, so Miner's going to hit often enough. A little surprised to not see the 14 cycle where it's like the free backup over something like the Geomancer, but it's nice that the Geomancers can cycle themselves with this high of a backup count if you need to. Animus makes a lot of sense with our monster count. Epitaph to get our Leos and our Miras, that makes a lot of sense, especially with the Claris. Two Miners, the one Kolka to pair with that, the one Sid Garland, the one Matoya, and two Shantotos. Yeah, this list is... My only concern is, I would say like the low forward count, but like Behemoth is 3 forwards, Zombie is 3 more forwards, Melusine is 2 more forwards, Antlion's another forward, Armin's a forward, and then Puma is like more recursion. This is a... Yeah, I would need to play that to say like how good it is for sure, but it's really, really neat. More Earth Water featuring Old Shinryu. And at 2 copies. I mean, we're on New Una again to cycle through stuff. This looks pretty similar. Just surprised to see the Old Shinryu. I wonder what this is specifically targeting. I guess this is... Okay, the 3 Hedgehog Pies are coming in. That makes a lot of sense. Iodolus is becoming very standard at 3 copies in these decks now. Mont Blanc, Palom, and Zondi. Only 3 pinging backups. It seems a little low. I'd be a little scared of that. Forward Alize. We've got the full 3 copies of Alphino, so we can go Alize and Alphino, really spam the board so we get our Ifrit online quickly. Not 1 CP Ifrit. I'm a little surprised to see that as well. The full complement of 3 Bosches, Ishtola. Surprised to see this Kane. I have not seen anybody really run this too much. Just kind of a hasty 9k attacker. I feel like this Squall is just a better version of that. I don't feel like we're going to go there super often. I could be wrong. Guts Go. We got our 1 copy of Forza. Warrior of Light to dig a bit, and we're on the Aces. I really have liked seeing Ace and Magissa now as just like an additional late game bomb. If you get like Shantotoed early or something, you'll have a decent sized break zone. Ace gives you a threat without having to try to reestablish your Magissa. I've really come to appreciate this guy in Magissa lists, so I think that's really, really cool. I like our summon lineup, other than I think that we should go for the full 3 Amaterasu over this Ifrit. But, and I would maybe consider the new 1 CP Ifrit, because I think we can get pretty wide pretty quickly in this list. Like, Hedgehog Pie enables the new Ifrit really well. Alright, at least 6 has Tribal. So this is a 6 list, but we're not running 5 CP lock, so we're able to kind of run our tech cards. We're on 4 Salises, but we're split 3-1. We're split 3-2 between the Opus 4 Legend lock. We see that a lot with this Celes, because giving them both haste is really nice. Go-Go, Walk, Celes. No extra Sabins. We're just running the 4. If we see him, we see him. To Umaro. We're on Shadow forward even, so we're running Crystal backups to enable Bahamut. I don't love that. I love the Q Chaspel we made room for. I think that's a really nice innovation. Um, we're on. I really think giving up the cyan forward for that is probably not worth it. I think Shadow Forward might be underplayed, just given the ability to dig for Setzer and Interceptor is so important in the deck. But I don't think there's an argument to play this Cyan over a backup Cyan. Um, Edgar, one Dabbing Yeti, Umaro, and then the Demons. Full complement there. The full 3 Amants, the 2 Madiuses try to lock our opponent out of the game long enough to win. Only thing I'll say is Madius does sometimes feel like overkill with Celes, with Setzer. I don't know how much this really is going to do for you, but it's like good enough. I would maybe run the Shiva over it and just cycle all the cards out of my hand to dig for my actual payloads. And I'm not a fan of the Bahamut choice here. I would go for the Type 0 Bahamut that came out recently where you like get to divide a bunch among 2 forwards. Mono Water, again with 5 CP Yuna, really showing up, trying to make me look bad. This is on the Moogles to dig. Draw 3, discard 1 is pretty good as it turns out. Full 3 Cucullin, so we're running a lot of our Cantropy summons. 1 Tros. I do feel like we're going to run low on summons pretty quickly between Folka and Yuna. I'd like to see the Porums come into the list here. Just the 1 Lena. 2 Levy, 3 Ash, 2 Shinryu. Yeah, we're running really thin on cards to run this many summons with this Yuna. 13 backups. We're on 2 Alchemist, 1 Artemisian, 3 Waka, 3 Loporrit. Let's frickin' go. Someone recognizing the power of the bunny. The 1 Marowib, and the 3 copies of Thornton. Would I run 3 Thornton now? I mean, the EX is crazy. And, like, Thornton, like, early backup into Thornton, into, like, Artemisian, dig for more cards is pretty good. I do feel like we're actually lacking on even costed backups. Like, Loporrit's a fine. Like, you play Loporrit for 4, you don't really care that much. It's like a nice bonus that it costs 3 instead of 4, but maybe that's one to consider. Like, just a couple of extra, like, 2 CP backups that you don't mind playing. But that looks like a pretty normal mono water. Getting towards the end here. Ice Earth. F star 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 Morzas. Yep, 2 Arcanists. Very, very simple, clean list here. The full 3 Shinryu coming in to the list as well. Replacing stuff like the Orphans or the Miras or anything like that. We're just going to go hard and do the normal Ice Earth thing. Keep wiping the board, playing slow, and winning. I hope this deck isn't good. My win rate against Ice Earth is literally like 2% in my lifetime. I do not win against this deck very often, but I love seeing this quantity of 3-ofs. I think it's going to take a long time to win games, which is a little scary, but these are very, very strong cards to be running at 3. So I don't mind that. The 3 Mist, 3 Heka, we're slowing the game down to an absolute crawl. Maybe would look for the Mandragora or the, what's it called? Astroprotoflorian for like 1 backup breaker in our monster list. But I think these ratios look really, really good otherwise. Maybe the second Shantoto as well. One of the Geomancers of Night should be a Materia. Materia digging for our payoffs and our things, generating our crystals for our robles, I think is worth it. So that's what I would do. Mono Fire. Interesting that we're on Fangs as... Oh, it's Mono Fire 13. What the heck? Huh. I don't know if this is good or not. I'm going to be honest with you. Saz Dodge with this dodge does mean this Saz can just kind of sit there forever if we kind of use our aces and our Luniths to just like control the board state and win with like use our like Hien, our Lightning, all that as finishers. I could see this being good. I like thought like everybody plays Fire Lightning for 13, but like there's still an argument that like Fire Ice is good. I think Fire Wind could be really really good in 13. Being able to cast the Dane. Chocobo is maybe the funniest good 13 forward that you could run. This looks solid. The two Cooch Haspel, very happy to see that. Lebro, one, that's nice. Two dodges. Zondi. Really a little slow to get our backups down, but this isn't the list that's looking to get backups down either, so I think that's okay. I'd still run the Princess Goblin. Like, it sucks to get the Lightning if you don't want to play her with the Princess Goblin, but it's still maybe worth it for the like being able to get like an early backup. And the Lightnings are going to want to come down later anyway, so like if you do have a discard effect or have to discard, that's an easy discard to do later. Just like a nice bonus to have the Lightning just kind of, and like holding the Lightning and just threatening it is a problem for your opponent at all times. Like there's just this 2 CP 8k haster they can drop on you out of nowhere in a pretty fast aggressive deck. Really really cool list. I like this. And that's going to do it for the Materia Cup Germany. So tomorrow I'm going to have the second deck Sage. Try to have another one out on like Thursday as well. I'm trying to catch up with the fact that I have a lot of them in waiting. Let me double check real quick. It might have gone up. So let me take a look at my sheet real quick on my phone. Don't want to reveal any like personal information or anything or show any of these ahead of time. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 decks in the queue. I'll have the submission below because if I'm going to have it as a bi-weekly thing, we need a lot more deck lists. But I think for now, while things are new, I'm going to do 2. But if deck lists slow down a little bit, I'll do like once a week. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you all in the next one.